My parents forced me to quit my part-time job because they said I was embarrassing the family. Later, they used the college fund that was supposed to secure my future to pay for my sister's European trip and luxury lifestyle instead. Hey Reddit, I need to explain something first. My family didn't fall apart overnight. It cracked slowly, quietly, like a plate that keeps getting used even after the first fracture appears. From the outside, we looked polished, stable, successful, but inside, everything was built on performance. I was the invisible asset, the unpaid worker behind the scenes, while my sister was the brand everyone proudly displayed. Our parents, Miller and Caroline, owned a coffee called Crossroads Cup. If you walked in, you'd see warm lighting, soft music, carefully arranged plants, and my mother smiling like everything was perfect. Instagram stories every day, seasonal drinks, fake confidence. What customers didn't see were the overdue invoices stacked behind the counter, the broken espresso machine that needed to be hit twice before working, the supplier who kept calling about late payments, and me closing alone most nights, scrubbing floors at midnight, counting inventory, fixing mistakes, restocking fridges. Unpaid. If I didn't show up, the place started falling apart. But hiring real employees would have meant admitting the business wasn't thriving. And my father would rather drown than admit weakness. My older sister Liliana lived like the princess of a flawless family brand. Sorority membership, expensive clothes, curated study abroad photos, upgraded housing. When she overspent, my parents called it building her future. When I worked retail to prepare for mine, it became shameful. The first time I got a job outside the cough, I didn't tell anyone. It was at a bookstore across town. Quiet, peaceful. I liked it there. I liked earning money that no one could claim was family obligation. I kept a small notebook in my backpack. Every shift, every dollar earned, every dollar saved. I wasn't planning to run away. I was planning to survive. Then Mrs. Brown, our neighbor, the type who notices everything, walked into the bookstore one afternoon and froze when she saw me behind the counter. She smiled too widely. I knew immediately it would get back to my parents. By the next morning, my father was waiting in the kitchen, arms crossed. So you're working now? Not are you tired? Not why didn't you tell us? Just accusation. He said customers would think the cough couldn't afford to support its own son. He said whispers turn into empty tables. He said I was sabotaging the family. That night turned into a negotiation that wasn't really negotiation. Quit, he said, and I'll pay your college tuition. Every dollar. Focus on school. I'll handle the money. He said it with complete confidence. So I quit. And the moment I walked out of that bookstore for the last time, something inside me felt wrong. Like I had just surrendered the only leverage I had. A week later, they called me into the living room. No build-up. No apology. The college fund is empty, my father said. My mother added quickly, it was needed. Needed. For Liliana's Europe trip. Her sorority dues. Her upgraded apartment. Her photography package. Her lifestyle. They didn't even try to pretend it was accidental. My father looked at me calmly and said, "You'll figure it out. Boys always do." That was the moment something shifted permanently. I told them my grandparents had already offered to pay my tuition directly, quietly, without conditions. They had seen the instability long before I admitted it to myself. My father didn't explode because of the money. He exploded because he wasn't in control of it. After that, the house changed. The internet stopped working out only on my devices. Dinner portions somehow didn't include me anymore. My sister started hovering near my door, listening, reporting. If I left the house, she mentioned it. If I texted someone, she glanced at the screen. Then my documents began disappearing. My passport wasn't in its drawer. My birth certificate was misplaced. My social security card was somewhere safe. That's when I understood this wasn't about tuition anymore. It was about containment. My uncle Eric, my father's brother, pulled me aside one afternoon and quietly handed me a folder checklist. "Secure your documents," he said. When he feels control slipping, he tightens. I found everything hidden in different places. Taped inside folders. Stuffed behind expired coupons. Mixed into insurance paperwork. I kept them in my backpack after that. And I slept with that backpack next to me. Eventually, my grandparents insisted I stay with them for a few days. Those few days turned into safety. Meanwhile, without my nightly work, the cough started slipping. Orders were wrong. Tables weren't cleaned fast enough. The espresso machine broke for good. Customers noticed. Instead of hiring staff, my father rebranded. Overnight, Crossroads Cup became Morning Brew. New sign, new logo, same financial hole. He held a ribbon-cutting ceremony like he was launching a franchise empire. But the cracks were louder now. Then came move-in day at the university. My grandparents helped carry boxes into my dorm. For 10 quiet minutes, everything felt normal, hopeful. Mine. Then a staff member approached and asked, "Is your father here?" Apparently, a man downstairs was claiming I was being enrolled against my will. It was him. He was in the lobby shouting that I was mentally unstable, that my grandparents were manipulating me, that I didn't understand what I was signing. People were staring. Students, parents, staff. I walked downstairs slowly. He pointed at me like I was evidence in a courtroom. He's not capable of making this decision. For a second, I felt 17 again. Then I remembered I was 18. "I'm fine," I said. Calm, clear. "I'm choosing this." That's when his voice cracked. Not from sadness, from losing. Security stepped closer. My uncle stood between us. My father tried one last time, lowering his voice, leaning in just enough so only I could hear. "I'm not done." It wasn't a threat shouted in anger. It was colder than that. But something had changed. For the first time, he wasn't the loudest voice in the room. Security escorted him out while he kept shouting that I would regret it. The lobby went quiet. Later, I learned the cough had started closing early multiple times a week. Reviews mentioned inconsistency. Staff turnover. Tension. Customers stopped pretending everything was fine. My mother began selling her jewelry quietly, piece by piece. Liliana eventually dropped out when rent couldn't be paid. The image collapsed. Not because I attacked it, but because I stopped holding it up. Now, when I sit in lecture halls, I sometimes think about how close I came to staying silent, to accepting loans while pretending nothing happened, to apologizing for wanting stability. But the truth is this: I didn't ruin my family's reputation. I just refused to be the invisible foundation that kept their illusion standing. And the moment I stepped away, the whole structure showed what it had always been.